Series 1, The Patriarchs, Foundations of the Promise. Part 4, Hagar and Ishmael, The Peril of Impatience. Genesis 16, 1-4, 11, 12. KJV. Now Sarai Abram's wife bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid, it may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. 3. And Sarai Abram's wife took Hagar her maid the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. The account of Hagar and Ishmael reminds us of the danger of trying to force God's promises through human effort. Sarai, barren and growing impatient, suggested a cultural solution. Give her maid Hagar to Abram as a surrogate. Abram agreed, and Ishmael was born. But this plan, though logical in human eyes, was not the fulfillment of God's covenant. Instead, it brought strife, sorrow, and division that echoed for generations. Here we see the difference between faith and flesh. God had already promised Abram a son, but waiting tested their patience. Rather than trust God's timing, they took matters into their own hands. The result was conflict between Sarai and Hagar, between Ishmael and Isaac, and even among their descendants. When we substitute our solutions for God's plan, the consequences reach further than we expect. Yet notice God's mercy. He did not abandon Hagar. The angel of the Lord met her in the wilderness, promising to multiply her seed and naming her son Ishmael. God hears. Even in the midst of human failure, God's compassion shines. But the covenant promise remained with Isaac, the child of faith, not Ishmael, the child of human striving. Paul later uses this story in Galatians 4 as an allegory. Ishmael represents the covenant of law and bondage, while Isaac represents the covenant of promise and freedom. The lesson is timeless. God's promises cannot be fulfilled by human schemes. Only by His Spirit and His appointed way do we receive the blessing. For us, the warning is clear. Impatience with God's timing can lead us to compromise, creating Ishmaels in our own lives, solutions born of flesh rather than faith. The call of Abraham is to trust, even when waiting seems unbearable. As Isaiah 40:31 declares, They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. True blessing comes not from rushing ahead, but from resting in His perfect timing.